This is an equation of a parabola in general form, and the general form is y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c, where a, b, c are constants. If you look at the equation of this parabola, the value of a is 2. So when the value of a is greater than 0, it means that it is an upward parabola. So when it is an upward parabola, I can always draw it something like this. Say it looks like something like this. If you want to find the characteristics of this particular parabola or the key features of this parabola, we can easily calculate by using this equation itself. How can we do that? Let us start. Say for example, I want to find the y-intercept for this parabola. So my y-intercept is the point where the parabola touches or intersects y-axis. This is the y-axis, this is the parabola, and this is the point where your parabola is intersecting y-axis. So this is called as y-intercept. So if you see along y-axis, x is always 0. So to find y-intercept, we always put x is equal to 0 in the original parabolic equation. So when I do so, I get y is equal to 2 times 0 square plus 7 times 0 plus 3. So on my calculator, I get y is equal to 3. So this is my y-intercept. So this point is basically 3. After this, let us try to find the vertex of the parabola. So now what is meant by vertex? A vertex is the turning point of parabola. So when a parabola, if you see the path of the parabola, as we travel from here, go from here and travel along the positive direction of x-axis, so it goes like this. So starting from here, so it goes down, the value of y is decreasing, and then eventually it hits a minimum, and then again it starts increasing. So this particular point is called as the turning point, because it is at this point that the parabola turns its direction upwards, from downwards to upwards. So this is the point that is called as vertex, and it has two values, an x coordinate and a y coordinate. Now to find the values of x coordinate of parabola, also called as x value, the formula is minus b upon 2 times a. Now what is a and b? I have already told you. So if you compare these two original parabola equation and the general form of equation of parabola, so your a is 2, your b is 7, and we do not want c because c does not feature in this equation. So I substitute the value. In place of negative b, I write negative 7 upon 2 times 2, which is minus 7 upon 4, and it eventually gives me negative 1.75 as the answer. So this is the x value of the parabola, vertex of parabola. Now to find the y value, what you need to do is you just need to substitute your x value in the original equation of parabola, which is this. So when I do that, I get y is equal to 2 times negative 1.75 squared plus 7 times negative 1.75 plus 3. So when you use calculator to solve it, or you can also solve it manually, I've already solved it and I know the answer is going to be negative 3.125. So I can say in the end that my vertex or the turning point for this particular parabola is, you always are supposed to write the x value and then y value. So my x value is this, negative 1.75, comma, my y value is this, negative 3.125. So this is my vertex. Now, using this, we can also find something which is called as the axis of symmetry. Now, axis of symmetry is a line that divides your parabola in exactly two equal halves. So, as I told you, axis of symmetry is this particular line. It is going to be an equation, number one. Number two, it is going to be parallel to your y-axis or perpendicular to your x-axis. And thirdly, it passes through your vertex. So if it passes through the vertex, the axis of symmetry, axis, I better write it up to save space. So my axis of symmetry for this parabola is going to be x is equal to the x value of the vertex, which is this. So x is equal to negative 1.75. So it is always equal to the x value of the vertex. Last thing that we can find from here is the x-intercepts, meaning these are the points where your parabola touches your x-axis, which is this point and this point. We are supposed to find these points. How can we do that? Now, since this is happening along x-axis, this is your x-axis. So along x-axis, we know that our y is always equal to 0. So to find the x-intercepts, we always substitute y is equal to 0 in our original equation of parabola. So when I do so, I get 2 times x squared plus 7x plus 3 is equal to 0. So it is like you can write this 0 is equal to 0 here also or here, but an equation looks like this, a proper equation looks like this. So I have switched sides, flipped sides, and I wrote is equal to 0 to my right hand side. This is a quadratic equation and we need to solve it for x. This can be solved by any method of your choice. So let's see if we can factorize it. Look at the product of the quadratic term and the constant term. So the product is 6 and the middle term is 7. So are there two numbers which when multiplied give you 6 and their sum is 7? The numbers that I can think of are 6 and 1. So 6 times 1 is 6, which is equal to the product of 3 and 2, and 6 plus 1 is 7. So these are the numbers that we can use to factorize. Now we are going to be grouping these two. I forgot to write x here. We are going to be grouping these two. So from here, I can simply write 6 as 2 times 3 because in the next step, I can easily take out common 2x because 2 is present at both the places. X is also present at both the places in the first pair. So x is left inside plus this 3 plus. If you see, this is 1x or x plus 3 and nothing comes out common from these two terms. So we can simply write 1 times x plus 3 is equal to 0. So now this x plus 3 can be taken out common. X plus 3 and then 2x plus 1 remains inside is equal to 0. So when the product of two numbers or two terms is 0, so either the first term is 0 or the second one is 0. This is the null factor law. From here we can just transpose 3 to that side of the equation. 3 is positive, so that side it becomes negative. Similarly, we need to transpose 1 to that side of the equation. So 1 is positive here, that side it becomes negative. So 2x is equal to negative 1. Finally, I transpose 2 to that side. So 2 is multiplying here, that side it is going to divide negative 1. So my x is negative 1 by 2. So you see these points where your parabola intersects your x-axis are say this point is negative 3 and say this point is negative 1 by 2 on x-axis. So my x-intercepts are minus 3 and minus 1 by 2. So these are the key features of parabola that we have to calculate always, that define the shape of the parabola. I hope you have understood it. Thank you.